WA's acting skills were terrible. No director wanted to use me, so I had to spend money to find a role to play, and I worked part-time while filming, but I couldn't make ends meet. WAD. Until my agent got me a variety show, originally thinking that I would just show my face and make my presence felt, but I didn't expect that I would become a hot topic on the internet. WAD. None of the guests in the variety show could cook, so I stretched out my hand to show that I knew a little about cooking, and then I used local ingredients to make 8 dishes into soup. Xiao Ba, whose makeup was smudged. I stretched out my hand to show that I knew a lot makeup, and after some tinkering, Xiao Ba, who was very satisfied, even asked me to be her personal makeup artist. The water pipe in the residence arranged by the program crew burst in the middle of the night. I stretched out my hand to show that I knew a little about water and electricity repairs. That night I went straight to the hot search and hot comments. Sister, 360 lines of work. You might as well change your line of work. WAV. Others are paid to work, but I get paid to act. This came from my first audition playing a blind person, but my superb acting skills scared the director to stand up, and he asked me to leave on the spot. Ma'am, you were asked to play a blind person, not a zombie. From then on, my reputation became famous, and no director within 100 miles dared to use me. WAV. My agent regretted signing me early, but out of professional ethics, he still tried his best to help me get jobs, although they were all small roles. WAE. As a result, my reputation became even better. I fell asleep when playing the corpse, and there was no movement when I was supposed to resurrect, which made the director almost die. I played a maid with a louder voice than the lady. I played a little follower, but when I took a step, I tripped the heroine, and finally not only lost the role, but also lost this month's salary. WAV. All these things together, now I really can't get any roles. WAV. I had no choice but to find another way. WAV. Not only did I not ask for money, I even spent money to find a role. WAV. For a small role, I got 18 levels of connections, and even the director's dog had to pay a bag of dog food. WAV. After 3 years, I was still standing still. WAV. My acting skills were terrible, and I was only taking small roles. WAV. Even the savings from working before entering the circle were almost gone. WAV. I had no choice but to take odd jobs to make a living after filming. WAV. I delivered food in my spare time, but it would be a little embarrassing if I accidentally took orders from the same crew. I didn't make much money as a part-time delivery man, so I started to think about doing maintenance work, such as unlocking locks and repairing toilets, which was less work and more money, or I worked odd jobs in restaurants that were too busy. WAEs, I worked while filming, and I was involved in all kinds of industries. WAV, when the agent called me, I was changing the lock cylinder for a young girl who lived alone. WAV, I had just removed the old lock cylinder when the phone rang. WAV, the agent's voice was a little excited. Song Ci, I got you a good job, a variety show that uses live broadcast format with many big names and a lot of popularity. WAD, you can get a big deal now. In order to get you this variety show, I really asked for everything I could, and I even treated you 3 meals. The money will be deducted from your salary. What? Deducted from my salary? No, I don't think I have any salary at all. WAV. I smiled bitterly. WAV. Sister Jeanne, I have been spending more than I earned these years, and I have nothing to deduct from my body. Otherwise, you can deduct some credit points from me. WAV. However, the agent did not think so. WAV. He lowered his voice mysteriously. 2 top stars, an actor, and 2 little white flowers. All of them are very popular. WAD. You can be full of soup just by drinking soup, and the popularity will definitely increase. WAV. By then, you will not be able to take on so many roles. When he said this, I was a little flattered. In this case, can I get a more important role? It's okay to play a supporting role, or the heroine's little follower. WAD. It's better than having only 3 lines now, so I immediately said, Sister Jing, don't worry, I will definitely perform well in the variety show, strive for more exposure, and get a big one. After installing the new lock decor for the little girl, I rushed home without stopping and sorted out the information of the guests of this variety show overnight. WAV. I didn't know until I sorted it out. There were all hot topics at the moment, the kind that can be on the hot search just by showing up. WAV. On the day when the program announced the guest lineup, the number of Ray posts exceeded 1 million in half an hour. WAV. I was stunned. WAV. The comments below were even more exciting. The front row was full of fan support, of course. There was no me. The only comments that mentioned me were like this. Who is the last woman, Song Si? I haven't heard of her. WAV. Do you like amateurs? The program team is quite innovative and specially invited an amateur. WAV. Wow, I want to go too. WAV. Song Si is so lucky. WAV. At this time, amateur CI, had already burst into tears. WAV. On the day of the variety show recording, in order to leave a good impression on the program team, I arrived at the scene early and asked about the well-being of the program staff. WAV. Not long after, several other guests also arrived one after another. WAV. I hurriedly helped to move the luggage, mainly to get on the camera and brush up my favorability. WAV. The barrage said, amateur sister is quite knowledgeable about the ways of the world. WAV. Of course, the 3 years since I entered the circle have been spent on the ways of the world. WAV. Just as I was helping the white-collar Chen Miao carry his luggage, the movie queen Yu Wei next to me suddenly screamed, my zipper is broken. Yu Wei carried a simple travel bag today, originally to save trouble, but he didn't expect the zipper to be derailed. WAV. He scratched his hair in exasperation. I don't know if there is anyone who can repair zippers nearby. WAV. I gently placed Chen Mia's suitcase on the ground, patted the dirt off my body, and walked towards Yu Wei. Let me see. WAV. The 3 people who were gathered together consciously made way for a gap. WAV. Yu Wei frowned. Can you also repair zippers? I picked up the bag and fumbled with it carefully. WAV. After confirming that it was a minor problem, I turned my head and responded, I know a little. WAV. You don't mind if I bite it with my teeth, do you? After getting Yu Wei's affirmative answer, I bit it until a large gap was bitten out in the half of the zipper that was derailed, and then I stuffed the bottom teeth of the backpack into it. After confirming that it was pulled to the bottom, I bit it again and bit the gap that had just been bitten back. WAV. After finishing everything, I slid the zipper up and down several times, and after confirming that it was smooth, I handed the bag to Yu Wei. It's done. WAZ. Yu Wei took the bag and said in disbelief, Is it done? I waved my hand. It's a small problem, except that it's a little hard on the teeth. WAD. Barrage. I learned it. It seems that the amateur invited is a tailor. WAD. It's okay. Isn't this a little common sense in life? Sure NCI has something. WAV. Sister Suren, I'm a little worried about your teeth. WMIC. Thank you. My teeth are a little chilly now. WAV. The rooms have been allocated. WAV. I and the little white flower Chen Miao live in one room. The Queen Yu Wei lives in one room, and the other 2 top stars live in one room. WAV. When the luggage was packed, it was already noon. WAV. As expected, everyone's stomachs were growling with hunger. WAV. Of course, takeout cannot be ordered. WAV. According to the rules of the program, we can only use local ingredients and must make enough 8 dishes. WAV. I counted the vegetables on the table: eggs, eggplants, cabbage, pork belly. WAV. It's okay, 8 dishes are no problem. WAV. So I looked at the others with great interest. Let's each make a dish. WAV. What can you cook? Chen Miao raised her hand first. I can boil eggs. WAV. No, ladies, this doesn't seem to be a dish. Barrage. Wow, Yao Miao is so cute. Yu Wei also raised his hand. I can steam eggs. WAV. No, ladies, this doesn't seem to be a dish. Barrage. Wow, our Wei Wei is so great. The top stars Uji, a Cheng next to me, raised his hand and said, I can scramble eggs. WAV. I was sweating profusely. Why are you all working on eggs? I held the last glimmer of hope and asked, is there no one here who can cook? Several people shook their heads in tacit understanding. I held my forehead and felt dizzy. There is no time. WAZ. If I don't do it, everyone will starve like zombies. I took a deep breath and began instructions. Sister Yue helped cut the eggplant. Meow meow, peel the potatoes. The other two handsome guys picked the leaves and chopped them. WAV. After we cut and washed all the dishes, I quickly turned on the stove and started cooking, stir-frying over high heat, occasionally flipping the wok, so skilled that it was heartbreaking. WAV. The people next to me were stunned. Song Xia, you can also cook? I smiled modestly. I know a little bit of cooking. WAV. Barrage. These flips don't look like amateurs. WAZ. I bet Sister Amateur is a chef. WAV. The answers above are all out, and you're starting to do questions again. WAV. After a long 40 minutes, the last dish was finally served. WAZ. It was a full banquet with a combination of meat and vegetables, braised spare ribs, big plate chicken, stir-fried pork with peppers, scrambled eggs with tomatoes, braised eggplant, hot and sour potato shreds, braised pork, and an egg custard. WAV. The 8 dishes were very complete. Everyone was full of praise. Sang Xi, you are so good. The food is so delicious. Of course, if it is not delicious, you will be charged. WAV, you have the level of a chef. After all, I am a professional. WAE, I used to swing a big spoon in the restaurant and crack an egg with one hand. WAV, because the food is delicious, it has attracted many repeat customers to the restaurant. Everyone was eating and drinking, talking and laughing. But Chen Miao next to me seemed unhappy and kept looking in the small mirror. WAE, I put a piece of braised pork in his bowl. Meow meow, why don't you eat? Chen Miao drooped his face. My makeup is ruined. WAV, when I was cooking just now, Chen Miao was always by my side, ready to serve me all kinds of things. WAV, he was smoked by the smoke for half an hour, and his makeup was ruined. WAV, although she has a good foundation and it doesn't look bad, it's not that good either. The complete were AZ. The comments were all full of sympathy. Although our Meow Meow can't do anything, she is always busy. WAV. She doesn't even have time to touch up her makeup when it smudges. WAV. It's over. WAV. Meow Meow cares about her appearance the most. WAV. She probably doesn't even want to raise her head. WAV. This variety show does not allow outside help, and I don't know whether Maya brought any cosmetics. WAV. I asked Chen Miao, did you bring any cosmetics? Chen Miao took out a powder puff-and lip gloss from his pocket. I left in a hurry, so I only brought these two. WAV. I nodded. Enough, enough. WAV. Chen Miao was confused, huh? 5 minutes later, Chen Miao couldn't let go of the mirror. Song Si, you are so awesome. How can you achieve the effect of full makeup with only a powder puff and lip gloss? I replied with a smile. I used the powder puff to focus on the middle part of the face, which would have a brightening effect, and then used lip gloss to do blush in lower part. WAV. The most important thing is that you have a good foundation. WAZ. Otherwise, no matter how good your hands are, you can't draw a beautiful woman. Thinking back to when I went to countless venues to make money, I painted 58 people a day at my peak and was nicknamed desperately pretending to be a girl. WAV. Chen Miao was flattered by the praise. Song Si, why don't you come to my place and be a makeup artist? The salary is generous. It sounded very tempting, but I still waved my hand. I just know a little bit. WAZ. I still have my main job. WAV. Although my main job loses a lot of money, I really like it. WAZ. The barrage exploded. Do you still want to bet on the chef above? I guess Surrey NCI's job is a makeup artist. WEV. Are you stupid? Didn't he just say that he has a main job, not a makeup artist? Look at his skilled appearance. He really doesn't look like an amateur, so what does he do? That night, the topic of what does Song Si I do for a living became a hot search. At night, we went back to our respective rooms. WAV. I was lying on the bed playing with my phone. WAV. When I saw the entry for Song Si, I sat up immediately. WAV. I rubbed my eyes. My throat is tearful. WAV. Am I seeing this right? Song Si will also be on the hot search one day. I was so happy that I forgot everything. Everyone must be impressed by my charm today. WAV. After all, who doesn't like a beautiful woman who can cook, carry luggage, and is proficient in the ways of the world? Let's see how everyone praises me. I happily clicked on it, and a line of big words came into my eyes. What exactly does Song Si do for a living? My smile froze on my face. What do I do for a living? I have been active for 3 years, and you ask me what I do for the years. And you ask me what I do for a living. Well, I admit that my dramas are relatively niche, and I can understand WAD. The guest introduction under the variety show also says Song Si actor. WAD. Isn't this clear enough? I clicked on the introduction of the staff of our variety show without stopping. Song Si amateur. Don't worry, it's not. When it was just aired, I remember it still said actor. I planned to ask the program team tomorrow to clarify, but by the next day, I had forgotten about it because today's task was very difficult setting up a street stall. Everyone chose a small stall they liked to sell. As long as there were customers coming, they had to receive them and give them points. The two top handsome guys chose the simplest grilled starch sausage. Yue chose a slightly simpler mobile phone film. And finally, there's only a slightly difficult pancake left. WAV. Everyone looked at me. Song Si, it's up to you. WAV. I held my forehead and smiled bitterly. Pancakes. I really know how to order. I wanted to show off my skills, but after waiting for half an hour, no customer came. WAV. I had nothing to do, so I looked around, thinking about going to other stalls to rub the camera. And my eyes fell on Yue's stall. A girl stood in front of the stall looking unhappy and kept urging, "Are you ready?" I've been waiting for almost 20 minutes. Yue was nervous and sweating. Sorry, this is my first time to apply a tempered film. I will immediately. WAV. I leaned over. Sister Yue, what's wrong? The customer next to me said, I just applied a tempered film. He changed 5 or 6 for me, but it still doesn't work. I'm in a hurry. I took the phone and whispered, Sister Yue, you took the wrong model. Let me do it. WAV. Yue said helplessly, there is no such model in this pile of tempered films. I've been looking for it for a long time. WAV. I carefully searched and found that there was indeed no same model. But the mobile phone screens are similar. There should be other suitable models. WAE. I flipped around and finally found it. The old tempered glass film on the customer's phone had not been removed yet, and Yue probably thought that the tempered glass film was directly pasted on. WAV. I held a corner of the phone screen and slowly and carefully lifted it up until the screen separated, then peeled off the entire tempered glass film and threw the broken tempered glass film into the trash can. WAV. I took out an alcohol cotton pad and carefully wiped the phone screen. WAV. Barrage. Song Si. I also applies tempered glass film. So seriously, it doesn't seem like an act. So Song Si's profession is to apply mobile phone film? It's possible amateurs shouldn't have that much pay. WAV. After wiping the screen until there was not a single hair left, I slowly peeled off a corner of the new tempered glass film, moved the soft film back halfway, then carefully aimed at the phone screen, slowly put down the soft film, gently pulled it down, and waited for the tempered glass film to slowly combine with the screen. Everything was done. The thing was done. The three of us breathed a sigh of relief. And the comments also breathed a sigh of relief. We finally finished applying it. The 4 of us are so awesome. No wonder I can't apply tempered glass well. It turns out I'm not patient enough. The case is solved. Song Si definitely applies mobile phone film. If not, I'll have delicious food and drinks every day. Fish and shrimp in my life. Why is he upstairs eating and taking after sending the customers away? Yue looked at me with surprise in his eyes. Yue looked at my hands. I know a little bit. I'm used to applying the film myself. WAV. In fact, there was a period of time when I often set up a stall under the overpass to sell mobile phone cases. And of course, I had to apply film. Because of my full patience, rigorous attitude, and excellent skills, I attracted a lot of people. WAV. At the peak, I applied 140 tempered glass films a day, and my hands were smoking. WAD. In the evening, I got a heartbreaking news. My agent called me, and it turned out that he had asked someone to remove my actor entry. WAD. I argued, Sister Zhang, why did you hide all my works and change my entry? Why, just because I'm an actor, can I not show up on the stage? The other side was silent for a while and sighed. You won an award this year, the Best Acting Jinx Award, which was judged by dozens of well-known directors in the industry. I was a little confused. What kind of award is this? The agent was so angry that he laughed. What if you don't withdraw? Are you waiting for everyone to search for your shitty acting skills? Then all the fans you attracted will be scared away, and you will be happy, right? I retorted weakly. Actually, I still made a little progress. WAD. The agent gave an ultimatum. You are a little popular now. I can only help you hide it temporarily, but the truth will come out eventually. WAV, you better improve your acting skills quickly. WAZ. Otherwise, your acting skills will still be as bad as shit, and your fans will turn into haters. Then he hung up the phone. I was depressed and stared at the screen of my phone in a daze until Yue woke me up. Song Xiai, can you fix water pipes? He looked very nervous, and water was dripping slowly on his face. WAD. I checked my phone and it was almost 10 o'clock, and the plumber had already gone off work. WAV. I hurriedly followed him to the room and heard Yue say that the toilet couldn't hold water just now, so he checked the water pipe connected to the water pump. WAV. Unexpectedly, it broke with a slight touch, and a large amount of water rushed out, and it couldn't be blocked. WAV. I followed him to the bathroom, and it was flooded and there was no place to step. WAV. I turned around and went out to find the water valve switch, and Yue followed closely. WAZ. After finally finding it, it turned out that the water valve switch was also slipping, and it took a lot of effort to close it. WAG. The water flow gradually became smaller, and finally only a few drops fell out. WAD. I checked it and found that the water pipe was rusted and aged. WAV. I went into the inner room and searched through the boxes and cabinets to see if I could find a spare water pipe. WAV. Fortunately, I found it on the bottom layer of the cabinet. I searched through the boxes and cabinets to find a wrench. With all the tools, I started to work. In less than 20 minutes, the new water pipe was installed and the toilet was refilled with water. WAV. Yue thanked me excitedly. Thank you, Song Xiai. Without you, I don't know what to do tonight. You are really amazing. How can you do everything? I was a little embarrassed. I just know a little. Just know a little. WAZ. Yue praised. You really can cook, repair water pipes, and apply mobile phone screen protectors. There is nothing you can't do. I smiled bitterly in my heart. In fact, there are still things I can't do. WAV. I'm not very good at acting. WAV. I asked tentatively, Sister Yue, if there is something you are particularly not good at, will you stick to it? Yue thought for a moment. That depends on whether you like it or not. WAV. He turned to look at me again. Why, is there anything you are not good at? I was immediately deflated when my thoughts were seen through. My acting is not very good. WAV. Yue looked surprised. Can you actually act? Look at how bad I am. WAV. I was a little embarrassed. WAD. Yue's eyes widened as he watched me pull up the clip of my performance on my phone. WAV. In the picture, the maid I played stood behind the young lady who was crying and collapsed, looking out the window with empty eyes, and the corners of her mouth twitched slightly. That was because I was too nervous and my facial muscles were out of control. WAV. Yue Wei was silent for 3 seconds and suddenly slapped his thigh and laughed with tears. Song Xi, your performance as a maid is so layered. Others are the master worrying and the ministers humiliating, but you are the master crying and the ministers laughing. This contrast is so cute. I turned off the video with a frown on my face. Sister, this is called acting split. WAP. Yue Wei tried to hold back his laughter and pinched my face. Acting is like muscle, you have to practice. How about this? Starting from tomorrow, I will spend 2 hours every day to give you special training, and I guarantee that you will be reborn in 3 months. WAZ. She suddenly lowered her voice and approached me mysteriously. But let me be frank, if you are lazy. WAB. I will post the fact that you can repair toilets in the homeowners group and let you take orders part-time. In the following days, I lived a devilish life of recording variety shows during the day and being specially trained at night. WAD. Yue Wei was like a strict class teacher from my control to walking posture. Every detail was picked out to the extreme. WAD. Once when I was practicing a crying scene, I couldn't squeeze out tears, and she actually brought a bowl of chopped onions and put it under my nose. Smell this source of inspiration, and if you still can't cry, just fry it and cook it. When the recording of the variety show is coming to an end, the production team arranged Dacre Ear Experience report performance. WAD. When it was my turn, the stage background suddenly changed into an ancient courtyard. The role I grew was Dark Guard, exactly the same as the role in the drama 3 months ago. WAE. The moment the lights came on, I subconsciously touched the non-existent sword at my waist. My back straightened, and when my eyes swept across the audience, the thumbs up on my chest flashed in my peripheral vision. WAV with as wish. I drew out the fake sword and shot at the beam of light in the air, and the corner of my clothes made a sound of wind when I turned around. WAV. When the director shouted cut, thunderous applause broke out from the audience. Even the top star Zhu Jiacheng, who has always been venomous, whistled, Song Ci, this movement is much more stable than when you were repairing water pipes. That night I received an ecstatic voice from my agent. Ancestor, the clip of you playing the Dark Guard in the variety show has been forwarded 1,000,000 times. Now there are 3 directors rushing to hand you script. WAV. Although they are all supporting roles, they are finally not maids and corpses. I stared at the screenshot of myself swinging a sword on the screen of my phone and suddenly remembered what Yue said. Acting is like applying a tempered film. WAV. As long as you find the right angle and use the right strength, even the most difficult troll can be perfectly fitted. WAV. 3 months later, I was sitting in the dressing room of the new crew holding the script. WAV. This time I played the counselor beside the second female lead. Although there were not many lines, there was a highlight shielding the heroine from arrows in the rain. WAV. Before filming, the makeup artist looked at the eyebrow razored alcohol cotton pads on my desk and asked in confusion, "Do you bring your own tools?" I smiled and shook my head. This is a habit I had when I was setting up a stall before. WAV. I always feel safer when I have something ready. WAV. When the rain fell, I curled up in the arms of the heroine, pinching my palms with my fingertips to calculate my breathing rate. WAV. The moment the director shouted cut, I heard the assistant director in the distance muttering, "This newcomer's eyes are quite dramatic, much better than the previous one who played a blind man like a zombie." WAV. After work, I took out my phone and sent a message to Yue Wei, "Sister, I didn't laugh during the filming today, and I was praised." I soon received a reply, "Not bad, but don't be complacent. Your fighting scenes are like radio gymnastics, and I will practice swordsmanship tomorrow. Also, my toilet is clogged again. Come and fix it tonight." I looked at the neon lights outside the window, a smile on my face. WAV. Maybe I will never be a talented actor, but at least now I have learned to reconcile with my own clumsiness, just like you always have to turn off the water valve before repairing a water pipe, and you have to find your own rhythm when acting. WAV. As for those comments saying that it's better to change one of my 360 professions, they have been washed away by the sound of rain at this moment, leaving only a corner of my heart echoing softly. You said that? I insist on staying in this line and turning all my little knowledge into proficiency. WAV. Half a year later, I got my first named role in my life, the third female role Shun Shi Hi Wei in the costume drama The Strategy of Mountains and Rivers, a medical apprentice who appears weak but actually has a sharp edge. That week before the start of filming, I went to work in a Chinese medicine clinic near the crew and learning how to dispense and identify medicinal materials from the old doctor. WAB. I even squatted on the grass at 4 in the morning to observe the postures of the characters when picking herbs. WAV. On the day of shooting the first major scene, the director asked me to kneel on the broken porcelain pieces to detoxify the male lead, and my knees had to actually touch the props. WAV. The assistant director asked worriedly, "Do you want to wear some protective gear?" I shook my head, thinking of the pain I felt when I fell on a gravel road while delivering food. This little pain was nothing compared to the acting lesson that life had given me. WAD. As the camera moved forward, I could feel the sting of broken porcelain pieces piercing my knees, but my eyes had to be focused on the medicine bowl in my hand. WAD. As my fingertips trembled as I fed the medicine into the male lead's mouth, I suddenly remembered how steady my hands were when I was touching up Chmia's makeup in a variety show 3 years ago. It turned out that those odd jobs that were ridiculed had taught me how to control every detail of my body. WAE. Cut! The director suddenly stood up, and my heart skipped a beat, thinking I was going to be scolded again. WIV. But he smiled and applauded. Song CI, this I play has layers from forbearance to heartache. It's better than I expected. The extras around me turned to look at me, and one of the little girls whispered to her companion, "She is the sister who can repair water pipes, right?" I didn't expect acting to be so hard. WAD. That night, my Shinewa kneeling scene became a hot topic. WAD. When I clicked on the commentary, in addition to the heartbroken, "Does my sister's knees hurt?" there was actually a highly praised comment. I suddenly get her acting skills. There is a hook in her eyes, which brings out all the complexity of the character. WAV. I touched the bruise on my knee and smiled. WAV. This is probably the best compliment to the desperate woman. WAV. At the celebration banquet, the producer patted me on the shoulder and said, "Xiaosong, don't mention your water pipe repair in the future." WAV. Now you are the actor, Song Ci. I was about to nod when my phone vibrated suddenly. It was a message from my cousin in my hometown. "Sister, our mom posted screenshots of the drama you starred in on the wall and tells everyone this is my daughter." WAV. She was very good at repairing toilets. The whole crew burst into laughter, but my eyes were red. WAV. Those work experiences that were once regarded as stains turned out to be the pride of my family. WAV. When the show was over, I passed by the prop room and saw half a piece of broken porcelain scattered on the ground. WAV. I picked it up and put it in my backpack. This was a souvenir more precious than any trophy. WAV. A year later, I received a call from Yu Wei. "Sister, I need a second female role in my new play." WAV. The role is a chivalrous woman who can pick locks. WAV. Do you want to try? I almost dropped the phone with laughter. "So you are Taylor making this for me?" "Picking locks, repairing hidden weapons, mixing herbs." WAV. All of Shen Chi's skills are used. On the day of the audition, I wore a black suit and performed one-handed lock picking in front of the director. The moment the prop lock clicked open, I saw Yu Wei giving a thumbs up behind the monitor. WAD. Finally, the director made the decision. She's the one. WAV. She's so skilled, it doesn't look like she's acting. At the opening ceremony, a reporter asked me, "I heard that you have worked in many professions before." WAV. Are these experiences helpful for acting? I thought of the arm strength I developed while flipping woks in a restaurant, the patience I developed in a nail salon, and the hundreds of alley routes I remembered while delivering takeout. Those times that were once considered a waste of life turned out to be foreshadowing as of fate. WAV. Of course it helps. WAV. I looked at the camera and smiled very calmly. Every profession is a lesson that teaches me how to understand different lives. WAV. Now, I am no longer an amateur who knows a little about everything, but I want to make the profession of actor my mastery. WAV. Just as I finished speaking, the stage manager in the distance shouted, Sang Si, it's time to shoot the scenes of flying over eaves and walking on walls. I responded and walked towards the platform on the wire rope. WAV. The wind blew up the hem of my costume like a pair of fluttering wings. WAV waved at me, holding a thermos cup with Best Apprentice Song Si. I printed on it. It was my birthday gift to her, and there was a line of small words engraved on it, from repairing water pipes to flying over eaves and walls. Thank you for not giving up every time. WAV. The sun fell on the bluestone slabs of the set. WAV. I took a deep breath and let the wire rope tighten around my waist. This time, I am no longer afraid of falling because I know that every time I struggle with my feet on the ground, I will get closer to the sky. WAV. After all, there is no wasted journey in life, and every step counts.